I remember the day that I got Colton's case, and I distinctly remember talking to one professional who told me good luck. He didn't think that I would find a home for Colton. He thought that it would be extremely difficult, and he was very concerned that because of Colton's age, which is a common barrier in our system, that we wouldn't be able to find a home.
My one goal was that Colton get adopted before his 14th birthday. That was the big overall status that I needed it to be. And it was a promise that I needed to figure out a way to keep.
About 3 weeks into having Colton's case, I found out that he had a godmother, that approximately a year before I got the case, she had disappeared and nobody knew why. So I was really curious about that. It also came out that when Colton had been placed with a previous foster parent, that foster parent had decided that he wasn't gonna let Colton have a relationship with Natasha anymore. So I went to my investigator, Mike, and I gave him her name. And I said, I really need you to find this lady because I think she's really important to this kid's life and we need to find her.
So at the beginning, we were like really nervous that we weren't going to be able to find her because we're trying to like different variations of her last name and things like that.
I tell you what, Mike is a heck of an investigator because when this first all happened, Mike said he spent a couple of days trying to locate me.
Luckily, there was another woman, it's actually Natasha's mom, that was also identified. And then when we, were able to go over to her house and, introduce ourselves and, tell us what we were doing, sure enough, that's Natasha's mom.
If Mike wouldn't have kept looking for me, then we don't know where the future would have brought us or how long it would have been until I would have been able to see him again.
And it turned out that the reason that we had been having such a hard time finding Natasha was because her name was spelled incorrectly in court documents and children's division documents. The day of the visit, I picked Colton up from school. He was super excited, extremely nervous. It reminds me of those military videos you watch where you see somebody come home from overseas and surprise somebody. Colton saw Natasha down an alleyway and just took off running for her and immediately got there and gave her a huge hug. And I was still standing at the back of the alley watching them and in my head thinking like, Colton found his family.
I saw him run out of the car and gave me a big old hug, and from that second I just knew that I was going for the adoption process. Colton excused himself to go to the bathroom and I said, okay, Amanda, what do I gotta do?
Towards the end of the visit, Colton had to go to the bathroom and Natasha walked up to me and she said, I know I have this barrier. I want to get my own place. Can you help me get him? I want to adopt him. And I told her, absolutely. We'll do it together. Every step of the way, we will figure this out.
Okay, we have this relative who is super attached to this kid, who wants to be involved, who's so upset that she lost that time with Colton. And the only major barrier is she needs to find a bigger place to live. And so I was a part of a lot of those meetings and a lot of that supporting Amanda, the extreme recruiter, and her amazing work in assisting Natasha through that process. Because if that is the only barrier stopping Colton from having a family, we're gonna make that work. We're gonna figure out a way to help Natasha. And it was so beautiful the way Amanda and the entire coalition supported her and made that happen, because Colton would not have been adopted if it weren't for that. Everyone worked together beautifully because Colton deserved it.
Amanda and Hannah were on it, sending me listings every other day for something to call or somebody to get in contact with.
Natasha's amazing. And along the way, she was more than willing to go to any training she could, to go to any service she could, meet with any professional she could, because all she wanted to do from day one was learn how to help him.
Natasha is just so committed. Like, if I had to choose a word to describe Natasha and just like how she shows up for Colton, it's just commitment. You know, we have had certainly very difficult conversations. Tears have been involved at times because these families share some of the most intimate parts of themselves with us.
I get to unload on Keisha every Thursday. And God love it, she sits there and listens to me.
It is just so beautiful to see the two of them and the love that they have for each other.
I've talked with Natasha. We did a virtual home visit where we met over Zoom. We just talked about what struggles she's having with school, what behaviors, what struggles Colton is having at school, and just kind of getting a good layout of some of the family's issues, some of Colton, what Colton has been through in his life. And we help navigate those systems and work with the schools, work with the families to try to do what's best for each child.
The whole thing has been one giant blessing for everybody involved, and the whole team has supported me and my family and just everything that we've possibly needed to.
Natasha and Colton were there, and Colton was dressed up in a suit that he had borrowed from a family member. He was so excited about it. And Colton, I had asked him what he wanted for adoption day about a month before the adoption. And he had told Natasha and I that all he wanted was a sign. That he wanted to be one of those stories where he would have a sign to hold on adoption day with how many days he was in foster care and then that he had been adopted.
And he turned 14 on April 27th, so 9 days after he was adopted, we had his 14th birthday.
I remembered the day that I watched him run across the parking lot to her, and I knew that the story had finally come full circle, that they were family now.
Come up, and
I have to say, thank you, Miss Amanda.
Amanda has always been such a wonderful advocate for Colton.
I love my mom because she was always there for me and my brothers, and she always would help us out with anything we need. And yeah, everybody gets to know, my whole entire family gets to know that I'm safe and I'm with them now, finally.
I'm just really happy to finally have my kiddo.